Hey guys, 1776 or bust. So today I took the Ruger PC9 out, and I have to say it was very surprising. It was actually a very enjoyable gun to shoot, and more importantly, I think for starting or beginning shooters, this is actually a very viable choice to start with. Now, overall, the quality of the gun was really good. The shooting quality and the shooting experience was very positive, but more importantly, this really opened my eyes to why I think, I guess you could say, pistol caliber carbines are actually a very good choice. So I'm going to go over some of the features of the gun, and then I'm going to kind of return back to that idea of why I think this is such a good choice for any shooter anywhere, and why I think it's got a very useful purpose for basically all situations. So let's take a look at some of the features, and then I'll come back, explain my reasoning behind it, and wish you all a great day.
That big hole. That thing shoots pretty good. Can't blame it. I can't blame people for buying it.
All right, guys, welcome back. 1776 or bust. Back to the table we go from outside. So the Ruger PC Carbine 9, whatever you want to call this thing, it's kind of an interesting overall gun. And it's interesting for a lot of different reasons. I kind of hit on it a little bit outside in regards to basically the use of the gun. So I want to go over some of the features that I do really like about it, especially at this price point. I mean, this is a sub $500 gun, and it offers quite a bit of, in my opinion, reasonable accessories that make this a pretty good solid purchase if you choose to buy one. Now, first off, for those of you who shoot lefty, I think that's something you got to talk about here. So for me, I shoot guns, handguns, righty, but for rifles, I shoot lefty. Go figure. Now, one of the things I like about this Ruger PC is the fact that all of these controls are ambi. So you actually can just pop this out and actually switch this around to the other side. So what I mean is you basically are going to unscrew that, you're going to remove this piece and place it on this side. So it actually makes it a little bit easier for a left-handed shooter. Again, you're also going to notice that the charging handle, which protrudes out there, and it's pretty cool looking. You can actually take this out and you can actually put it to the other side. So for those of you who are left-handed shooters, if you want to be able to, pull back the charging handle with your left hand while you're resting the gun in your right hand, that makes this gun very, very user-friendly, especially for us freaks who are lefties. Now, in regards to some of the other features, you're going to see that the front of this stock here, which, I'm going to say I wish it was a little bit beefier. Not that it's going to matter in regards to recoil, because it is a fairly stable gun. I mean, keep in mind, it's not a light gun, and you are shooting a 9mm out of it. It would just be nice to have a little bit more surface area to grab onto. And again, you can do those features, those options are out there aftermarket, including ones from Ruger, and it's up to you to decide which one you like better. The front end of the gun, you can see, has a small rail on the front here. So if you want to attach any accessories like lights, lasers, flamethrowers, that kind of stuff, you can do that. Again, on the top, you have your other pick rail here. And again, you can see I have my little Bushnell red dot here, which is not a bad addition. I mean, it's kind of like a mid-budget type of red dot. It's nothing fancy, I'm not going to lie. And I've had it for several years. So it's definitely, taking a beating, and it keeps on going, which is pretty cool. And I have to say, it was fairly zeroed in today, which I was pretty shocked about because I actually haven't used this in a while. But it was, again, a nice little shoot. It worked for me where it was positioned. And again, that could change for you depending on how you shoot. This gun also features some ghost ring sights here. Again, you can see they are adjustable for height, which is a very nice feature. That's something you don't necessarily see on a lot of guns in this price point, but on this model, it does come with it, which is, again, a pretty cool feature. The one thing that I would say is a little bit of a downer is this the post in the front here. So one of the things I had to do is I actually had to put some, and let's see if you can catch that there, but I actually had to put some orange paint on there because I could not see it. I think the peep sight on the back is a little bit small. It's not necessarily, it doesn't have the biggest window on it. And unfortunately, because of that, I really couldn't make out the post in the front. So I wound up putting some orange hobby paint, and it shows up pretty well now, especially now that I have the red dot on there as well. So it did work fairly well. but I just wish they would have maybe, made the post, or excuse me, the dot, or my God, what am I trying to say? The ring. That's the one I'm trying to say. The ring in the back just a little bit wider so you can see the post a little bit better. But again, that's just my own opinion. Again, you have your trigger guard safety, which is very typical for Rugers. If you have any familiarity with like a Mini 14, that type of stuff, it's usually located around here, which this one right here, which is kind of interesting, this is actually going to hold your charging handle back. And you need to do that in order to take this down. I'll show that to you in a second. But it's a fairly user-friendly system. Again, you're going to put the charging handle back just like so. And then you basically push up on that and it holds it in place. Again, when you want to drop the charging handle, you just push back a little bit and it releases the lock in place here. It pops back out and then you're basically ready to go. The butt stock, or the butt portion of the stock, I should say, is, it's not bad. It's not great. Again, you have a nice textured rear here as well as in the front. So that's nice. But again, it's a fairly, I don't know, plasticky feel. But again, remember what this is. It's a 9mm carbine. I don't really think you want to invest $1,000 into something like this. But again, to each their own. One of the things I did notice while I was shooting it was that this back piece here, or the back portion of the stock, it sits a little bit low on the cheek. I would actually prefer that it comes up a little bit higher. I know they do, and I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit. Oops, wrong way. What I do know is there are some aftermarket parts here that you can put on and actually raise the height of this, which I might look into. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it because it's manageable. It's not too bad. And I think that has a lot to do with actually the length of the actual butt portion of this. It's not very small. I mean, it could easily be like this small, so you're going to have to really adjust. But because it is a little bit longer, it's okay. You can rest a little bit higher on the shoulder. Plus, you're not going to be really feeling that much recoil. Again, this is a 9mm, so you really shouldn't be struggling with recoil or anything like that. What you'll notice here is that all the Rugers come with two Magwells. They come with the Ruger, which is installed on this, and then it also comes with the Glock along with it, which I think is a great feature, especially at the price point, especially since a lot of people own Glocks. And you have multiple magazines, maybe you have, a fun stick or a drum or whatever it might be, those fit in here, which is pretty cool. Now, I don't have one of those, unfortunately, but if you do, I think it's a great feature to have. Now, I did put the Glock Magwell in here. Again, I own Glock magazines, so as a result, I was able to take that out. I have multiple magazines, so that's kind of a nice feature, and that's something I definitely appreciate because Ruger did not have to do that, and they did it anyway at no charge, which is kind of nice. Now, in regards to take down the rifle, again, like I stated before, let me put this down the table here. Hopefully you can see that. You have to actually push back the charging handle and then lock it in place. Once this is locked in place and you're basically your chamber's open there, you're going to take this little bitty thing right here, boop, right there, and you're actually going to push up on it. I don't know if I can get that in camera, but if you push up on it and you turn it slightly, it actually releases the front portion of the rifle carbine to the back portion of the carbine. And there you go. So basically you have a takedown, makes it extremely easy to be able to carry this wherever you'd like. More importantly, if you need to clean it, you obviously have access to the barrel there, and you can run whatever you need to run through it to clean it out effectively. And that's, again, I think it's a really cool feature that they did this because you don't really see many carbines like that. They're fairly straightforward type of guns, but at the same time, I think there's actually a really good market for this because, again, what you're seeing here is something that's very transportable, something that's fairly light, and something that's very usable. So I think overall, Ruger did a really nice job with this carbine and how it's set up. Now, obviously, there are some things you can do to it. You can actually change the front handguard here, so you get one that's a little bit more tactical looking. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I mean, I'd like to. I just don't know if it's worth the cost, so to speak. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't really think I'm going to change anything on the front either. Now that I have the bright paint on there, it does a good enough job. Although I did a crappy job painting it, other than that, it's pretty solid. And again, like I said, the peep sight in the back is a little bit on the small side, but it's nothing that you can't get past. And I think that's still a usable feature. Plus, if you put some form of red dot on here, you're going to really be looking at that dot anyway. However, I would definitely, practice with the irons. Again, putting the gun back together again. Let's see if I can do this backwards here while I'm looking at. Well, let me do that again. I got to put that in the camera, guys. See, and that's the problem with doing long gun videos. So as you can see, you're going to twist it just about there, and then it locks in place. So I'll show that to you again. Let's see if I can do that. So as you put it on, you're going to put it on this way, and you're going to rotate it slightly. And then once you rotate it, it locks in place. You turn it back into place, and you're good to go. The bolt went back, which is the first time it's ever happened, so I don't know if that's standard. You guys can tell me if you have experience with that. But one of the things also that you want to look out for, if you haven't seen Dave Gass's video, he had some really good advice in regards to these. His barrel was kind of moving a little bit in regards to when he was shooting. So basically what you want to do is you want to tighten this a little bit, and righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So when this is separated from the actual receiver portion of the gun, you want to tighten this up a little bit, and you want to play around with that. So as you put the front end of this carbine back on, you want to see if there's a little bit of resistance. You don't want too much resistance, but just a little bit of resistance when you get it on there, just to make sure that this barrel isn't going to move around or it's not kind of loosey-goosey on you. But other than that, it's a fairly straightforward system, and it's a fairly easy system to get down very well. Now, the trigger, some people have said the trigger's not that good. I don't really think it's bad. I mean, again, like I said, it's a sub 500 carbine. I think it's going to do what you want it to do. I mean, this is not going to be necessarily a marksman rifle, guys. It's just a 9mm carbine. So, you know, would it be nice to have a different trigger? I don't really know. I mean, I think it's a fairly solid trigger. So as you can see, and again, this gun is clear, guys. Here's your trigger. There's no take up whatsoever on this carbine at all. And then it breaks. So it's a fairly short break. The reset on this will come right back out to where it originated from. And again, I think the trigger is a fairly decent trigger for what you're paying for it. I really don't see any problems with this. And, you know, overall, I think Ruger did a really nice job. I'm very impressed with it. At first, I kind of poo-pooed the idea of getting a pistol caliber carbine. But now that I have one, man, I really like them. I think they're very usable. And when we go back outside, I'm going to talk to you about why I think these have a really good purpose, who they may be for, and, you know, why I think you should get one. So stay tuned. Let's go back outside, and we'll finish there. All right, guys, so I wanted to kind of finish this review with a couple of thoughts that I had about this Ruger. First off, very surprised on how much I actually like that gun, for the simple fact that I was a little bit low in regards to levels of desire to anything that was considered a pistol type of carbine. I didn't really see the purpose of them. However, after buying this, I have to say that it actually opened my eyes to quite a bit. First off, broadly speaking, this type of gun actually fits so many different requirements for a lot of us out there who are looking for, you know, affordable guns that are there to be used for protection or for whatever else you want to do. But I think also specifically when you begin to look at some of the groups that this actually specifically falls under, there's a lot of good categories and a lot of useful things that this gun can be used for certain types of individuals. So to break some of those categories down and to kind of give you more of a general idea, or I should say more specific idea, let's take kids, for example. First off, my kids have been starting with 22s. Again, if you chose to start yours with a 45 like Grandpappy did with you so many years ago, then God bless. But for my kids, I wanted to start them off with a very small caliber that they could control and, more importantly, feel confident with. And that 22 has now kind of evolved as time has gone on, because they've gotten very good at shooting. Now, in regards to where I wanted to take them next, I could have easily taken them out to a heavier round in regards to just feeling that thump, that recoil. However, I chose to kind of streamline it and go now to this 9mm. I think the 9mm is a very, very good caliber for them to continue to learn and also to build that confidence and build really good skills. So when they were shooting the 9mm, both of my kids, my son who's got months of experience versus my daughter who has none, both immediately felt the difference, but also realized they had to improve their skills while they were shooting. So I think a 9mm carbine in this type of platform is a fantastic choice for kids. Secondly, another group that I think benefits from this is going to be the elderly. Now, there are people out there who are considered elders in the gun community who maybe have become over time a little bit more recoil sensitive. And as a result, these people still want to shoot, but maybe not necessarily feel the push of a 308 or something of that sort. This gives them the opportunity to continue to shoot in sort of a long gun platform, maybe not necessarily out to 1,000 yards, but definitely gives them that ability to continue doing the passion of shooting that they may have. So I think that also works for elderly as well. In regards to people who are starting off with 3-gun competition, I've actually been seeing videos of people using the carbine for that as well, and I think that's a great option. It's a low-cost option, it's a reliable option, and more importantly, it's an affordable option, and overall, not only for the price of the gun, but also price for the ammunition. So I think that's also a great feature for this as well. And one of the other groups that I also thought about were people who are going out and maybe hiking and camping, using public lands and allowed to carry firearms on those public lands. This is easy. It breaks down. You can store it in a backpack if you want to, and then you can always have it available if you need it. So there are so many different things that you can use this PC carbine for that initially, before I took the opportunity to buy it and then to shoot it and to kind of get an experience with it, I didn't really think about or consider. And now that I have one, I can see why so many people are very fond of this platform and very fond of this gun. The shooting experience was great. Although to that day that I went shooting, I shot only 100 rounds through it. That's it. Because unfortunately, I didn't want to spend 10 hours there because you can only load 5 rounds at a time. Don't ask me, I don't really understand that. But nonetheless, I also had my kids who wanted to shoot, so we had to go back and forth. But after 100 rounds, while it is very limited in regards to experience with the gun, I have to say that it was fairly reliable in 100 rounds, and I should say perfectly reliable for what it's worth. But more importantly, it was a really fun thing to shoot, and that's sometimes what you kind of don't really think about. It's an easy gun to handle, an easy gun to mitigate recoil with, an easy gun to teach young people with, and more importantly, to me, it's a very versatile platform that I think has a place for everyone. So guys, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Tell me what you think about the Ruger PC carbine. Do you have one? If you have it, do you like it? Would you consider getting one? Again, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe, and as always, everyone, freedom is never free.